Hello and welcome to your Parts of Speech quiz review. Woo! I'm not able to be in class today, but I wanted to be sure that I took time reviewing the quiz that you just got back. Hopefully you're looking at that now. If you're not, take a look at it. It is the one that looks like this right here. Parts of Speech quiz. Let me just explain the way that it's scored because it also was combined with your proofreading marks quiz, as you know. So they're stapled together, and the bottom sheet is your proofreading mark score. Everyone got 20 out of 20 on that, so great job there. On the top is your parts of speech section of the quiz. Right around here on your paper, you'll see a score in orange, and it's out of 47 because there were 47 points for this particular part of the quiz. So the top score right here is how you did on the parts of speech section. And if you look on the bottom right-hand corner, right down here in green, we'll say a score out of 67. That's because the proofreading marks was out of 20. So that's your final score on the whole thing. Remember, don't compute it as an average because that's not how it's calculated. You're more than welcome to calculate it, but just know that it will not be accurate because you know that your grades are out of total points and not out of an average. So if you calculate it as an average, the score is going to appear lower than it actually is, and it will not be an accurate calculation. So that's what the quiz looks like. So have that in front of you. I'm going to go over some of the concepts that gave you the most amount of trouble. So what we'll do is I'll get my little red pen here, and I'm going to label each of these for you. I don't know why there's a random accent mark there. That just showed up somehow or other. So we know that my is a first person possessive pronoun. This is going to take me longer to write than actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to insert a text box here to make my life a little bit easier. And even though I hate it, I'm going to use Comic Sans because it'll look more like handwriting. Let's make that blue and a little bit smaller. Okay, so we know that my is a first person possessive pronoun. I'm going to move that box up. Okay, we know, I think I just know. Let's see, how is this going to work? We know that parents is a noun. This is one of the problems that gave you guys some trouble, was the did call. We know that did is a helping verb and call is an action verb. But I don't know what's happening. What you want to remember is that the two of them together make up a verb phrase. So you really just need past tense on that verb phrase once, because did is a helping verb for did call. So what a lot of you did was you marked did as past tense, which is correct, and then you changed call to present. You can't do that because did call are working together as one entity. So that's that. Then we have, it looks like it wants me to make a new text box, so I guess I'll do that. During is a preposition, as I think you pretty much all got, and dinner is a noun. So on the first sentence, the tricky concept for you was did call. Hopefully this explains what happened there. If you have any questions about this sentence, write them down, and when I come back on Tuesday, you can ask me to explain further. Let's go to the second sentence. Their buddy Bianca loves chocolate. This one didn't seem to pose too much of a problem for anybody. Looks like we knew pretty well that, hold on, this is just too big. Okay, there is a third person possessive pronoun. Buddy is a noun. Some of you put buddy as an adjective, I believe. I can see where you had that line of thinking because you were thinking that buddy is describing Bianca, but actually that's not the case. Buddy is a noun and Bianca is a noun. They're both referring to a person, and nouns are people, places, or things. The confusing factor is that it's referring to the same person twice. We'll get to that when we go over sentence parts. For those of you who know about appositives, Bianca isn't a positive. If you don't know that word, pretend I never said that, because we'll get there, I promise. Loves is an action verb, present tense, as you know. And then chocolate is a delicious noun. So that was week 2, or question 2, and again, didn't seem to be too many issues on there. So if you have other questions, let me know. One thing I forgot to say was the point values. This sentence here was worth 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Each thing that you label is 1 point. The first question was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that was out of 9. So you'll see on your quiz on the right hand side I put a number. That just means how many you got for that particular sentence, and that's where your score came from. That's why it's 47, because it's just 1 point for everything. It's actually not random, even though it sounds it. Let's just, oops, no, I'm not going to move this over. So here is the third one. This one was a little more tricky for some of you. We know that I is a first person nominative pronoun because it's acting as a subject. Some of you put I as a noun, which it is actually replacing a noun. So because it's replacing, it's actually a pronoun. Hate is an action verb. This is not going to work. I got to use a separate text box. Hate is a present tense action verb, which most of you knew. So, you know, action verb present. Let's change the color there. And let's maybe spell present right. That wasn't really an issue. School was not really an issue. The but was a bit of an issue because some of you either forgot to label the type of conjunction, or you might have just written this, which is CORR, and that stands for correlative conjunction. So we actually, if you wanted to abbreviate it that way, you would have needed to have written COOR for coordinating conjunction. Dawn Burnett says to just label it as CC for coordinating conjunction. So if you had followed her abbreviations, then it would have been fine. So there was an issue there. I is another first person nominative pronoun. If you put I as a noun both times, I only took off points once. So I did not double hit you for the same mistake in the same sentence. So you might be curious about that. Cannot was another one that sort of gave some people some issues. We know that, I'm just actually going to write down here. I don't know, what should I use? I'll just use courier. Can and then not. Remember that cannot is, or can't is split into can and not. So can was a helping verb, and not, as you know, in the notes it even says not is always an adverb. So most of you didn't get that one incorrect. You just didn't label not at all and forgot that it was there. So for can and not, that's what you need to do there. And then leave is an action verb because it's the action of leaving. And your tense is present tense. And that's for cannot put together as a verb phrase. So you only need to write present one time there. If you wrote present both times, that was totally fine, no problem. And then lastly, now was another one that gave you some trouble. Don't know why this won't default what I want it to look like. Some of you put preposition for that. That doesn't really fit because for a preposition you need to have a noun following it because it has to say like under what, under the table, under the desk, whatever. So now doesn't work as a preposition. Another way to remember that is that it's being used to describe when you can't leave, right? Now is saying when, and we know that adverbs say when. So that one was a little bit tricky. They get a little more complicated as they go. Again, if you have any clarifying questions, write it down on your quiz right now and let me know. This sentence was worth 15 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that is that one. And then finally, the trickiest one was this puppy here. Will they come over and watch the show House before dinner? First, I'll get to show House because that was one that was sort of confusion on my part or a lack of clarity. Show is a common noun and house is a proper noun. In the sentence, I meant that you were going to come over and watch the television show that's entitled House. So some of you labeled show house as a noun, thinking that that's like a type of house, or some of you said show is an adjective and house is a noun, meaning show describes the house. I didn't take off points for any of that because I understand where your confusion came from, and that was not your fault. So in the interest of fairness, I didn't take off points there. But I did want to clarify that. Okay, so the biggest confusion I think was with your verb. So will is a helping verb. Hold on, what I'm going to do actually, if I can just close out of there, make this text box. I don't know why it's making the text box huge. Will is a helping verb. And it's future tense, but I'm going to hold off on the tense until I get to come and watch. They is a third person nominative pronoun because it's acting as a subject. Again, this cannot be a noun because it's replacing the they. You don't know who they are. It's not letting me move that text box. Oh, that's because I need to do that. So that's why that one a couple of you missed. Come is an action verb. You're going to come over to watch this show. And it has to be, I'm going to put this up here, future tense, because it is a verb phrase. So will come is a verb phrase that is in the future, right? The big issue that I saw as I was going through these is that many of you labeled watch as present tense. You can't do that because will is helping out both come and watch. So will you come over and will you watch? So it has to be future tense. If you didn't put a tense for here at all, that would have been okay because I know you have it over here and you know it happens in the future. If you put an F over watch because it's future, then of course you got it correct. If you put present tense over watch, then I had to take a point off because it was too much information and the extra information was incorrect. So that was that. Over was another one that was very tricky. A lot of you put over as a preposition, and again, it can't work that way because you're not saying over what. There's no noun that it's completing. It's just acting as an adverb. It's saying where are you going to come? You're going to come over. If it said over my house, then that would change the function in the sentence, but it's not always just an adverb. Again, I'm not going to say too much about the conjunction here because it was the same issue where you either left off the type and just wrote conjunction, and I need to know what type of conjunction, or it could have been that you wrote correlative instead of coordinating. I know they're close, but you got to be precise. And then the is an article. I don't think anyone missed that. You know that the is an article. And then before dinner is a prep phrase. Before is a preposition and dinner is a noun. I don't think anybody missed those either, so I'm not really going to take time and effort explaining them because I'm pretty sure you all figured that out. And this question was worth, whoa, what just happened there? That's not what I wanted to do. This question was worth 15 points as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, and then future tense, 15. So that's 15 points there. So that's about it. That's all I wanted to say. Like I said, if you have questions, please write them down, and I will be happy to clarify when I see you on Monday, but I hope this helps. Great job. Signing off. If anybody has a good catchphrase for me to end my screencast with, let me know. I still sound like a dummy when I sign off because I'm just like, okay, bye. So, okay, bye.